Anthropic launches Claude Tag, replacing its Slack app with a persistent AI teammate that. The old approach just got more expensive. The practical edge now comes from changing process, timing, and tooling together. We will map trigger, incentive shift, and downstream impact before the close. This is a fundamental shift in how AI integrates into team workflows. And it matters because it signals where enterprise AI is actually heading, not as a tool you summon, but as a presence you trust. Here's what changed. For the past year, Anthropic's Slack integration worked like most AI plugins do. You'd add Claude, ask a question, wait for a response, copy the output somewhere else. It was useful but manual. Every interaction was transactional. Every time you wanted Claude's help, you had to stop what you were doing, invoke the bot, and wait. Claude Tag changes the architecture entirely. Instead of responding only when called, Claude Tag operates continuously. It monitors your workspace's conversations, learns the context of your projects, your team's communication style, your decision-making patterns, all without requiring explicit prompts every time. When a problem emerges that Claude can solve, it acts. When it needs to flag something, it surfaces it with precision. Let me be specific about what this means in practice. Say your product team is discussing a feature request in a channel. Claude Tag reads the thread, understands the context, and when it identifies a technical risk nobody's mentioned yet, it flags it. Not interrupting, just dropping a note with analysis. Your sales team gets an inbound inquiry. Claude Tag sees it, checks your past client communications in the workspace, and drafts a response template tailored to your tone and that specific client's history. Your engineering team posts a bug report. Claude Tag correlates it with previous incidents, pulls relevant logs, and presents a potential root cause before someone has to manually dig through Slack history. This is leverage. This is what persistent AI actually looks like at work. Why now? 2 reasons. First, Anthropic's Claude models have reached a threshold of reliability and contextual understanding where autonomous action is safer than it was 6 months ago. The model can read a Slack workspace and make genuinely useful decisions without hallucinating or creating chaos. Second, enterprises are realizing that chat-based AI is useful but incomplete. The future of enterprise AI isn't replacing humans with bots. It's creating AI that augments human workflows by removing the friction of invocation. The contrarian angle? This could backfire if Claude Tag gets the context wrong. A persistent AI teammate that acts autonomously in your workspace can also make mistakes at scale. If Claude Tag misreads a sensitive conversation and surfaces confidential information, or tags the wrong person, or executes a half-correct decision, that's a trust breach. Anthropic's safety story now includes not just accuracy but judgment about when to act and when to stay quiet. That's harder to get right than most people think. Here's what changes next. This move signals that Slack is becoming a deployment platform for AI, not just a communication tool. Other AI companies will follow. Within 3 months, expect similar announcements from OpenAI, Google, and others. The Slack marketplace is about to become densely populated with persistent AI teammates. That means competition is coming fast. For teams using Claude, the immediate play is this: Claude Tag is opt-in on launch. Turn it on in a single channel first. Let it learn your team's communication for a week. Watch what it flags and how it interprets context. Only then expand it workspace-wide. The teams that nail this early will see measurable gains in throughput and decision speed. The teams that deploy Claude Tag everywhere immediately might face context confusion and noise. For Slack itself, this is a strategic validation. Slack becomes the workplace operating system where AI doesn't sit as a plugin, it sits as infrastructure. That makes Slack more valuable and more sticky, which is why you can expect Slack to be aggressive about standardizing how persistent AI integrates into workspaces. For India-based teams and startups, Claude Tag's persistent learning model has direct implications. A Bangalore-based product team using Claude Tag gets AI that understands their communication cadence, their product decisions, their technical debt. That's a multiplier for smaller teams that can't afford dedicated research or strategy roles. A single engineer with Claude Tag as a teammate effectively multiplies their output. That's relevant for India's startup ecosystem where leverage and speed matter as much as capital. This matters because it represents the real frontier of AI adoption, not smarter models, but smarter integration. The teams that move first and calibrate Claude Tag correctly will see competitive advantages in decision speed, quality, and execution. The question isn't whether to use Claude Tag. The question is how fast you can learn to trust it with your actual workflow. Watch this space. The next 72 hours will tell you whether Claude Tag actually scales to real team dynamics or whether it hits the context ceiling most AI still faces. Either way, you're looking at a template for how enterprise AI actually works in 2025. Anthropic just killed its Slack app and replaced it with Claude Tag, an AI teammate that lives in your workspace, learns how you work, and acts without being asked. It doesn't respond to prompts anymore. It monitors conversations, identifies problems, and takes action. This is persistence over presence. Your product team posts a feature request, Claude Tag reads the thread, spots the technical risk nobody mentioned, and flags it automatically. Your sales team gets an inbound inquiry, Claude Tag checks past client conversations and drafts a tailored response. This is what enterprise AI actually becomes when it stops being a tool you summon and starts being an agent you trust. The shift matters because it redefines how teams multiply their work without hiring. Focus on 3 layers: immediate trigger, structural incentive shift, and downstream effects on operators, users, and regulators. Then map scenario playbooks, optimistic execution, base case adaptation, and risk case where integration friction or policy reaction slows adoption.